Hello, I'm Celia Hatton. We begin with a developing story in Ukraine. A Russian rocket hit an apartment building overnight in the western city of Lviv, causing casualties. In a post on Telegram, the mayor of Lviv said the attack has left at least 4 people dead and another 8 people injured, one seriously. There are fears that more people may still be trapped under the rubble. Here are some aerial images showing the scale of the attack. The last floor and the under roof of the building have been completely dismantled by the force of the explosion. The Lviv region is hundreds of kilometers from the front lines, and since the start of the invasion, it's been largely peaceful. Well, let's go live now to Gordon Carrera in Kyiv. Gordon, I think really the map that we've just seen says it all. Lviv is very, very far away from the front line. How do civilian attacks like this one on the city of Lviv affect morale across Ukraine?
I think there is always a bit more shock in Lviv when they get hit because it is relatively rare. We have seen other missile strikes, other drone strikes in recent days and weeks which have killed civilians, in Sumy on Monday, which killed 3, and then in Kramatorsk last week, which killed 13 at a pizza restaurant. But those are much closer to the front lines and where the fighting is taking place in the east of the country, whereas Lviv is a fair distance away, as you said. And so I think those dramatic pictures of the damage to that residential apartment building will cause a fair degree of shock. And President Zelensky this morning has promised a tangible response to the enemy, in his words, for what's happened.
I mean, a tangible response has been promised, but what can the Ukrainians really do to prevent such attacks or to respond to such attacks? Presumably they'll have to put more firepower into the front line?
Well, the real focus on defence is with the air defence systems, and just in the last few minutes, the Ukrainian Air Forces have said that they detected 10 launches of caliber missiles overnight, 7 of which were shot down by the air defences. And so it appears one of those missiles at least hit that residential building. So the air defences can be very effective, particularly against the drones, but the missiles are certainly harder to shoot down. So that's on the defensive side. And then in terms of a response, well, there are various ways Ukraine might try and take a response, including in Russia itself, although it doesn't always acknowledge that it's the Ukrainian government itself which is doing that when there is some kind of drone strike or something similar in Moscow. And then, of course, there's the counter-offensive, which is still ongoing in the country. They've acknowledged it's been making relatively slow progress, but it is still early days, they say, in trying to push back Russian forces.
Gordon, just looking ahead to the NATO summit that's coming up, what are the Ukrainians pushing for at that summit?
Well, I think there are 2 things, really. There's more weaponry, better weaponry, more ammunition for the weapons they've got, and secondly, security commitments, including potentially NATO membership that they're after, or some kind of guarantees from NATO to give the country more support in the long run and a greater sense of security. So I think that is really the focus for that NATO summit, which is in Vilnius next week.
Good to see you, Gordon. Thanks for taking us through that. Gordon Carrera in Kyiv.